back to Crossplay, our video game podcast here at the Whatnots. It is Sunday night that we are recording this. June what? It's the, I don't even know what date it is, the 12th. Sunday night, June 12th. Summer Game Fest is happening all this weekend. We're mostly done. There's a few stragglers, there's a few extra things here, but this is part 2 of our roundup. If you guys want to catch all of our thoughts on the first 2 days of Summer Game Fest, that is already up on our feed, both as a podcast and on YouTube. This is part 2. All the stuff that happened on Saturday and Sunday, including these 6 showcases. We had the Guerrilla Collective, we had the Wholesome Direct, the Future Game Showcase, the Future of Play Showcase, Xbox and Bethesda, and last but not least, the PC Gaming Showcase. My name is Kyle Springer, and I am joined by Ignacio Rojas. What's up, dude?
Hey, how's it going?
It's going good. I was just mentioning to you off air, I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I was up late, just not much sleep. But what's up with you?
If I'm being honest, I'm also tired. I also went to sleep very late.
The life of a gamer, you know?
Life of a gamer. Did I play games? Oh yeah, I did play games yesterday. I tried to play No Man's Sky on VR on my PC.
Oh, interesting.
Game looks like
fun.
shit on VR, let's be honest.
And it's coming to Switch, right? Like that's a thing that they announced like a month or 2 ago.
I don't know.
That was weird.
The game looks fine now, but for some reason, I don't know if it is my PC that couldn't run it, which could very well be, or if it was the fact that it was VR, but it looked bad. It looked...
I gotcha.
Reminding me of No Man's Sky version 1.0. How bad it looked. But it could have very well been my PC. So yeah, the game, I've seen it running the regular version as it is now. Console, PC, whatever, non-VR, and it looks fine. It's just the VR version looks bad. But yeah, that's what I played yesterday, and then I just watched some anime last night. Good stuff. I'm watching Code Geass right now. Classic. Very much into that show. So, yeah.
Classic indeed. Well, let's jump into these showcases here. What of the stuff from Saturday and Sunday did you get to catch and watch? What games stood out to you?
You know, that is a very good question because I kind of forgot to watch them. So about 2-3 hours ago, I remembered that we were gonna do this, and therefore I needed to know what was going on with the showcases. So
you at least watched like the Xbox and Bethesda.
Oh
ones.
yeah. I watched. Okay, so the Xbox one, I watched that one live. Yeah. And then before the show, I was watching the PC Gaming Showcase, and I got like kind of halfway through it. Mm-hmm. Very long.
Yeah,
it's very long.
There were some long ones.
Yeah. And then Future Play, I don't think I watched it. There is a Future Play and a Future Games.
Very confusing. Yeah. There were
Guerrilla Collective, I did scroll through it. I do not remember anything from it, but I did.
These were a lot like smaller showcases or like lesser known showcases. Some of them were still pretty long, like we just mentioned. Some of them I feel like were very specific. Like of course the Wholesome Direct. If you want cute wholesome games, like that all that stuff is in there. It might not exactly be the stuff that I like, but hey, it was still neat. The Future of Play showcase was also not for me. It was like very sci-fi futuristic. It was hosted by a VTuber. And was and then they had like another VTuber show up in the thing. Like it was just not what I was expecting from a showcase But I mean, they still had a number of good games and stuff like that. Was just very, very specific.
That's what impresses me the most. There are so many showcases, and yet they still manage to be so long and have so many games. And so I'm wondering where are all these games coming from?
I mean it's a lot of smaller stuff. It's a lot of
I
indie.
wonder
There
what
was
would happen.
some that were in multiple showcases.
Yeah, there were a couple, but I wonder what would it be of those games is if we didn't have these many showcases.
Yeah. And I mean that's also the thing is I watched all of them. And I'm assuming most people probably only watched the Xbox One today. Yeah. So as much as they were in these showcases, there's a lot of stuff in here that still is just probably not gonna make a big splash.
Yeah, that's the thing with I'm to the point with indie games where I feel like there is so much and you start seeing so much repetition.
Yeah.
So many games with similar ideas, similar concepts, similar looking games that it is so difficult for me to even care about these games because they bleed into each other so much.
Yep. It just starts to be this like endless wall of games that all look the same. But let's jump in. There's one game that I want to shout out from Guerrilla Collective, which is a game called Ugly. Which is
okay, so that's a game. I saw you. I saw the note in the document, and I thought that you were referencing the show being ugly.
The show looked fine. They did a fantastic job. But one of the first games that they showed off in this show was simply called Ugly. And I really liked it. It looked like a kind of puzzle platformer, Metroidvania style thing, kind of like Celeste or Hollow Knight, but with this very, very dark, kind of psychological horror look. And just the art style in this looked really, really neat. So that one definitely caught my attention. But outside of that, there wasn't really much in the Guerrilla Collective that really stood out to me.
Yeah, I'm going
that's just me personally.
I'm going through the games that stood out to me. Again, there are so many, so I'm trying to remember what even these games are. So, yeah,
they had. I mean, one of the things that I think we mentioned in our like part one roundup is that there's just so much variety of stuff.
Yeah. So I have some games pulled out here.
The fridge is red. That was a good one.
So yeah, one of the games that stood out to me was how do you pronounce it? Shashingo. Learn Japanese with photography. Yeah. So I'm sure you've experienced all these apps like Duolingo or whatever that try to teach you Japanese for this case, but Spanish, English, whatever. And I thought that this game had a neat concept. We've seen several games pop up where they have a photography angle to them, and this game kind of combines both of them, where you are learning Japanese, but through photography. Yeah. So the game tells you, hey, this is a word, or this is what you should photograph. And so you are in this, from what I got, you are in Japan. You're in a Japanese street, for example, and it tells you, hey, take a picture of, I don't know, takoyaki, whatever. And so you look and you find, oh, that's takoyaki. Take a picture and whatever. And so I thought that was a very innovative way of learning a language.
Yeah. Or on the flip side, it's kind of based on your curiosity too, right? Where you can just go take pictures of stuff. And if you find like, oh, it's a skateboard, like how do I say skateboard in Japanese? And they'll be like skateboardo. And right, like, but that way you learn the things you want to learn. You're not necessarily bogged down with vocab that you're not interested in, or stuff like that. So I thought that was neat too. But yeah, shout out to Guerrilla Collective though, because they did have a good showcase. I thought it was well put together. So
and then quick shout outs to Daymare 1994. It looked like straight up Resident Evil.
Yeah,
but it wasn't Resident Evil, but it kind of looked like Resident Evil. So I thought that was very interesting. And then Industria, I thought it looked very cool. It is a first person shooter. It is very kind of like, how to describe it? Like mechanized enemies, like robot enemies, like with a kind of like a slight horror aspect. And I thought that the gameplay looked very neat. You see here in the trailer, it is a very dark room, kind of like a bar, and then you see a robot running towards you in a menacing way, and you have to shoot it down. I looked at that one, looked pretty neat.
Well, moving ahead, again, if you want some wholesome games, you guys can go check out the Wholesome Direct. You guys are into like cute little bunny games. There was a lot of frog related games. If you think frogs are adorable, man, I have the showcase for you. None of it really spoke to me. There was a lot of Animal Crossing, Stardew Valley like games.
See
that
here you're seeing a lot of what I said before, where the games start to bleed together. Where I'm scrolling through the games because I didn't watch the presentation, but it is a lot of, oh, it's cute animals, and oh, you are in a farm, or oh, it's pixelated, and oh, you are a group of teenagers with the teenage problems that you have to deal with society and whatever and stuff like that. And so it kind of starts bleeding together, and you kind of like that. Yeah, you kind of mix those things that I say, you mix them together and whatever. But even the colors that they use start to blend in together.
That said, though, again, the Wholesome Direct, I think they did their first one last year during Summer Game Fest.
They did one last year. Yeah,
it was surprisingly good. And here they were again this year, and it was another good showcase. It was just very specific on like, hey, if you want this kind of stuff, here it is.
And there are people that really like, again,
that's
the things that I listed.
Popular.
A lot of people will be like, oh, hell yeah, I'm in. Personally, these are not my kind of games because I do not like wholesome things or whatever. But
Nacio wants it rated R.
Yeah, if you do not shoot people, it shouldn't be a game. But yeah, there are a lot of people that are like this kind of thing. So I'm glad that they have their own presentation for these kind of games.
Indeed. Well, moving on to the future games showcase, there's two things that I want to shout out. The first one is one that was in multiple showcases, but I'll shout it out here in this one. This is American Arcadia. This game looks really interesting. It is kind of this Truman Show style game about this guy who finds out that he is in this television show and tries to escape. And then there's someone else on the outside who's like hacking into things and helping him escape. And the game follows both of those characters. The art style, in my opinion, is fine. Maybe leaves a little bit to be desired, in my opinion, but it's good enough. And I really like the concept. And if I'm not mistaken, they did the game Call of the Sea, I believe is what it was, from a couple years ago, which I really enjoyed. So I'm looking forward to checking out their next one.
Yeah.
And then
there's a
after
game that I
that-
wanted to shout out the last time that we did it because we popped up in another presentation. Just didn't have time to do that, but yeah, it looked cool and an interesting concept. I'm curious to see how the gameplay will be, but from what they showed, I am intrigued.
Definitely.
And then going through the games that sound familiar to me, Pal World, it is a game that I want to shout out. If you're seeing the article, it is towards the end. It is this weird mashup between Pokemon and a very violent game, and kind of like survival aspects, maybe. I thought that when I first saw it, I thought that this game, there was no way it was real because of, again, it takes a lot of Pokemon aspects.
Mm-hmm.
And it is so crazy, and I am very intrigued about this game. I want to see how they pull it off. Because you have for example, you have your main protagonist and even your companions using weapons, using machine guns and and RPGs. But these creatures very much look like Pokemon. So you even have these things kind of like Pokeballs where you do the same thing as Pokemon, where you capture them.
Right.
And I am curious to see if the game, one, comes out, and two, if it is as cool as it looks.
Oh yeah. Hell yeah.
And then the other one is The Last Faith. It is kind of like a Soulsy game with a pixel art style. Here it says a gothic horror Metroidvania Souls-like hybrid. And I'm a big fan of Metroidvanias. The game looks very cool, and I really liked the animations that the game has. Mm-hmm. I think that it has some very cool and fluid animations that I feel like you do not see much in these kinds of games.
That's cool. Good stuff. The last one I wanted to shout out from future games here is one called the Entropy Center. If you guys like games like Portal, this might be for you. Instead of a portal gun, you have an entropy gun, which basically like rewinds time for the objects that you shoot. So you can go into an environment that is ruined or destroyed, and I think you can like rewind or fast forward things to like destroy them or put them back. But the gun you have also has an AI in the gun. You know how in Halo on the battle rifle you can see the number of like how many bullets you have left on there? Imagine that, but instead of a number, it has like this like it's a screen, and it communicates with you through emojis and all that stuff as it's speaking. And it's a lot like that kind of like puzzle adventure game there. And
I'm looking at
that one looked neat there.
I'm looking at a trailer, and the room that I'm looking at, it very much looks like a room from Portal 1 in Aperture Science.
Yep,
looks very much like that. You're right. It does give me a lot of Portal vibes. It's very cool. I had no idea that this game existed, so
that one looked
that I know now
for sure. Future of Play Showcase. Again, this is one that didn't really have much that stood out to me. This is the one that was hosted by the VTuber. I'm really not familiar with that scene or all of that stuff, so this showcase just did not speak to me specifically. But
I'm not seeing anything.
You're scrolling through the stuff. Well, I say we just move on to Xbox and Bethesda here.
Yeah.
So of course Xbox started the show with Redfall. Looked like a cinematic trailer / a little bit of gameplay for Redfall, which is a game that I'm looking forward to because Arcane is a fantastic developer. I like the stuff that they make there. What did you think of Redfall?
It isn't what I was expecting. So before this, the only thing that we had was the cinematic trailer,
right?
And it gave me vibes of types of games that I do not gravitate towards. Reminded me a lot of I don't know, like 4-person survival, whatever.
Yeah.
But looking at this trailer, yeah, it looks like an arcade game. It kind of looks like it feels like an arcade game from the shooting, the movement, the whatever. It looks
style,
very much like the style looks like an arcade game. And the parts that has me wondering now is they showed a lot of interactions with the other characters from the game. And my question is it supposed to be like a standing for 4-player co-op? Are you supposed to play in 4-player co-op? And if you're not playing 4-player co-op, does it still feel like the back and forth that you have with those characters? How does that work? How does it work when you're playing single player? Are the other people just AI characters? How well does that work?
Yeah, it was interesting because they did mention you can play it solo or you can squad up. If I'm not mistaken, I think when they first showed off the game, they said this was an open world.
Yeah, they said open world here.
So yeah, like you can kind of go wherever, do what you want. But yeah, I don't know if it's like you and 3 other like computer players if you're just by yourself, or can you actually just go by yourself?
Yeah.
That'll be interesting to see how that gameplay changes.
Yeah, going back to the how does it work when you're alone? I thought that there was a lot of contextual contextual dialogue, and so I don't know if that's supposed to be from the game or was it somehow people
that may also
playing
just
the game?
Been the like trailer version of the gameplay.
Yeah,
reveal.
is it gonna be like that? For example, when the trailer starts and your character goes to the church, fights the demons, it had your character had a lot of dialogue there, but then your character turns around and sees the other companion character and it mentions how your character didn't know that it was there and kind of spoke her up and that gave me vibes of this seems contextual. How will it work? Actually, is that a scripted thing or how does it work? So it has me wondering how it will work if you are playing alone.
Yeah. And then Silk Song. So we've known this thing has existed. They still didn't give a release date, did they?
They kinda gave us a window though.
Okay, so we at least have a window now.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I know Alan must be excited about that one.
Yeah, I'm wondering how Alan reacted to it.
Yeah.
First of all, seeing Silk Song and then it ended and still no date.
Yeah, it's still kind of a punch in the face here. I'm just like, yep, the release window. We don't know. Maybe also, one day.
we are assuming that because they said that every game was coming out within the year, that also applies to Silk Song.
Yes, it would be before next Summer Game Fest.
But I feel that there could be the caveat of that, where they said that every game was coming out within a year after Silk Song was shown.
Yeah, I think
so. That could still be.
Okay, you're getting into semantics here.
It could still be though.
You're right. Yeah,
I don't know if who was it that came out? What's her name?
Sarah Bond.
Sarah Bond. Yeah. She came out after Silk Song and came out and said, every game that you're seeing today is coming out within a year, but I don't know if
that
she said every game from the showcase or every game from now on.
I want to believe it's all of them. So I feel like Silk Song should be out within the year. There was something, I don't remember if it was in this showcase or if it was in like the PC games showcase. It might have been in that, but they put the release year on a certain game. They're like out in 2022. and then it changed to 2023, and then to 2024, and then back to 2022, and then 2020X, and then it was just like a X question mark. It was just like, well, what's the point? Like, why? If you have no idea what the release date is, like, why even waste that time? I don't know, but things still could potentially get delayed too out of this. But I think if Silk's song does not release within this next year, I think people will riot.
That is kind of like the double-edged sword of committing to saying every game you're seeing here will come out within a year, because that is a thing to get people hyped for.
Oh, for sure.
It is a big announcement, but it also gives you later on, it gives people like a list or a thing to say, okay, you said that these games were coming out within a year and they have not come out. So it gives people a way to hold you accountable to something.
Yeah. I mean, for some things like Redfall and Starfield, that's kind of a good thing, or at least like fingers crossed, right? Because they did have that release date, at least Starfield did, November 11th, right? They were so certain, they were confident, they were like, yeah, it'll be out that day, which is a special day, right? And then they delayed it, and then here they are in this thing being like, hey, it will be out within the year.
Yeah.
So,
and also for Redfall and Starfield, I believe they said early next year. I think that they said that when they got delayed, and I think they reiterated it in this conference at some point.
Yeah, I, if I'm not mistaken, I think there was one point at which they said Redfall would be in January.
I don't know if they say. I don't think they said January.
I don't know. But yeah, so after Silksong, we got Overwatch 2. Early access begins October 4th. If you guys are excited for Overwatch 2, that is a big one. Still don't really know what they're doing with that game exactly, but it's happening somehow.
It is happening.
Indeed.
They can confirm it is happening.
The one surprise of the show for me was this game called The Last Case of Benedict Fox.
Yeah.
This had a really, really cool art style to the game. I was impressed by this one a lot. They described this as kind of a Metroidvania with like a gothic art style. I don't know if gothic is the right word for that, but it is a highly stylized look to the game. But man, it looks sleek. It looks cool. I am interested in that one. I wrote that down in my notes. I was like, let me keep an eye on this one. So, and it'll be out day one, Xbox Game Pass, spring 2023. So that looked fun. Did you have other things that stood out to you?
Did I have things? I did, and I'm looking for.
There was quite a bit of good stuff in this one. They had a lot of stuff that was like, oh, an update for this, neat. Update for Sea of Thieves, Diablo 4.
For Gino, we have to talk about how they mentioned A Plague's Tale Requiem.
Yep.
I said before that I played the game. I played it once, maybe 2 hours. I clearly didn't progress that much, but the game didn't grab me. But from what we saw from the trailer, it does seem like it is more actiony.
It looks kind of like the same stuff that you
yes, I don't know.
So,
I didn't finish it, so
again, you only got 2 hours in, which is not very far at all.
Got to the part where you can upgrade.
So you do end up getting powers. It is still stealth based, but you use those powers to like distract the guards or send the rats to go attack them and stuff like that. So yeah, it looks like you are doing that again in this game, but in new ways. Like you couldn't go underneath tables in this game. You couldn't go all the way down. it looked like you were also in the perspective of the rats, of like that big rat wave there. That looked neat. That was new. So we'll see. Yeah, that game should be real good. I'm expecting.
I didn't know
one
that it
to
was
be good.
The original one got that action heavy, because we see the main character
It's good.
with a crossbow.
Real good game.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got a lot of cinematic trailers. We got a lot of small announcements or expansions for games like Elder Scrolls Online.
Mhm.
I kind of want to get into Elder Scrolls Online, but at the same time I don't. It is kind of like the
so
complete.
sad that that's the game you want to get into and not Final Fantasy.
Oh yeah. Well, see, here's the thing. I kind of want to get into Elder Scrolls Online because I have given a thought to getting into an MMO.
Sure. Yeah.
And a game like that, and I think that from what I've seen from Elder Scrolls Online, the gameplay does seem very close to the Elder Scrolls games like Skyrim.
Mhm.
But then the other side of me is that even though I like the idea of getting into an MMO, at the same time, I'm not into the. I'm into the idea, but also I'm not into the idea of MMO, so it is like kind of conflict. But still, every time I see Elder Scrolls Online, I kind of like get that. Should I give it a try? Should I? It has that Elder Scrolls gameplay. Maybe I should give it a try, but it is still an MMO.
Not? To be honest, why not? Like, just try it out, and if it's not for you, then right? Be like, yeah, that one was not for me.
We are in that kind of like time period of the year where nothing is coming out, so maybe this is a best time to actually give it a try. Let me see if it is on Game Pass.
It might be. I don't remember off the top of my head there. But yeah, we got updates to Scorn. Scorn got a release date of October 21st, 2022. There's an update to Fallout 76. They are bringing back the pit. Minecraft Legends got announced.
Which look cool.
Yeah,
I gotta use it. It kind of looked cool.
What was the one that they did like a couple
Dungeons?
Yes, that one. That one was actually not bad. I played that one, at least like the base game, and that one was really neat. And they've stuck with that one and updated it, and that one was pretty good.
Yeah, I'm not into dungeon crawlers, but I don't know. From what I saw from this Minecraft game, I'm inclined to give it a try. I don't remember how they describe the gameplay, but it was a bit more actiony.
It says an action strategy game.
Yeah, action strategy.
Yeah.
Then again, going back to the argument of I kind of want to get into Elder Scrolls, but I kind of don't want because of the MMO and whatever. I also kind of want to get into strategy games.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's kind of like the push and pull of I should. It sounds like a fun idea. I do like my mind getting a workout. But then at the same time, I do not gravitate towards this game. So
you just
that's
you have
another
to,
struggle.
I feel like you have to find one that you can just kind of play casually in the background. Like, it's not like, all right, this is the next big game that I'm playing, and I have to beat it within like 2 weeks ish, right? Just like, you know what? Yeah. Maybe once a week, once every 2 weeks, just dive in and play some.
Yeah, that's a problem. That. I kind of have these associations between game genres and how I should play them, where there are action games I for sure want to play on my PC or my console, but then there are these kind of games, strategy games. I feel like those are more Switch games for me.
Sure.
But those games are not on Switch, so that's kind of like the reasons why I kind of do not feel the attraction of playing a strategy game on my PC or that kind of strategy game on my PC.
Yeah. But yeah,
a game that I want
updates.
A game that I wanted to give a shout out is Flintlock. Flintlock: The Siege of Dawn. I think that this is where we first saw it. It popped up at, I think, 2 showcases, but I think that this was the first one. And so it is a third-person action RPG. Very actiony, very fluid, a lot of movement, a lot of combat. I know I'm describing a game generically, but it looked very cool. It looked very fluid. I don't know how it's described. I go back to this image of the character going through, kind of like flying through these triangles or rings. So that's where I'm coming from with fluid. But then, yeah, the combat looks very good. There seems to be a story in there, and it also visually looks very good.
Yeah,
and they want a Game Pass.
Oh yeah. Let's talk about Starfield.
Sure.
Real quick here. So we finally got a gameplay reveal, an extended look at some of the things you can do, what the game looks like, the character, creator, all that stuff. I think this looks really cool. I like the look. I like the design. This is definitely a big step up for Bethesda. This looks fantastic. I'm sure there will still be some jank somewhere in there. But this looked a lot better made. Like the quality of this looked much improved.
I don't know what you're talking about. I found it weird that Starfield wasn't in the showcase, that they finished with No Man's Sky. Clearly, a HD package for No Man's Sky.
It's basically No Man's Sky.
It is very close to No Man's Sky. That's not something that I expected, even to the point where you are collecting elements. I think that they showed iron at some point with the FE popping up on the world. It was very close to No Man's Sky, but going into the No Man's Sky not aspects, I agree with you. It looks very visually, quality wise, it looks way better than your Skyrim or your Elden Ring. The engine does feel different in that aspect. I like that it just does seem to be very big, that they are using the whole you're in space to its full advantage, where
100
you go to other
solar
planets.
systems, 1,000 planets.
Again with the comparisons to No Man's Sky,
right?
Thousands of planets that you can go to and explore and catalog and whatever. But the gameplay looked way better than like a Fallout. If you are comparing shooting gameplay, you get your own shape and you get to customize it. And I was wondering, can you fly it, or is it just fast travel? But they showed you traveling through space with your ship, dogfighting. Again, very much like No Man's Sky, but it looks, if we're being honest, it looks like a Bethesda take on No Man's Sky.
Yeah.
Where quality-wise, it looks better. I'm sure that the story will be way better. They showed kind of like factions, kind of like in Fallout, where you have your Brotherhood of Steel and other factions, the Minutemen. They kind of showcased, I think, 2 factions that you will interact with in the game. And that's kind of like gonna add to it, going further than No Man's Sky ever went.
Yeah, I have not played No Man's Sky. I do feel like I kind of missed the boat with that one. Because I think the boat is. I mean,
it is a more stable boat than it has ever been.
Right? Yeah. It's one of those things that now that game is so big and there's so much to do in that I kind of am like paralyzed to start. So I want Starfield because I feel like I can jump in on that one right away. But both of them look neat. I'm excited for Starfield.
And also, there are the few details that you can find where you would knock down points. Like the facial animations kind of look good, but not quite there. They showed
than
off
what we used to get. Yeah.
That's the Bethesda sauce working here.
Yeah.
Going back to the Bethesda sauce, they showed how you can go in between first person and third person, which I love that Bethesda games do that.
Did like that, yeah.
But just like with the other games, it feels like it is a first-person game, and then you get to toggle to a third-person camera where it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel like a third-person game when you're playing it on third person.
It has the option, but is not made to be played that way. Yeah,
clearly made to be first person, and third person is an extra thing.
I gotcha.
Yep.
But yeah, that game looks good indeed. Look, there's a lot more stuff in the Xbox and Bethesda showcase.
Three things that I
want. 3 more things. Go for it.
Yeah, talk about. First one, we got gameplay for Diablo. Was it gameplay?
There was a little bit of gameplay, I think.
Yeah. There was gameplay. Yeah. So we got gameplay for Diablo 4. I don't know if we've seen gameplay for 4 before. But yeah, it is here. Next thing that I want to bring up is that the Persona P3 Portable, Persona 4 Golden, and Persona 5 Royale are coming to Xbox.
Yeah.
A huge deal.
That is.
Yeah, it is a huge deal, especially for Xbox, known for the lack of Japanese games in their catalog. And then probably the biggest news is that Hiro Kojima is partnering with Xbox. Yeah, we saw him in the presentation.
I guess that was confirmation of it. Like, didn't we already know that though?
No. So we've heard from other sources, your Jeff Grubbs, your Jason Schreiers, that Kojima was in talks with Xbox.
So it was never confirmed. They
have been working on a deal for a while now. And so this is confirmation that, Hideo Kojima is partnering with Xbox. So I think that that's a very interesting wording to use. They say that it is a partnership. He isn't working necessarily with them. It is a partnership. Why do I say this? Because I don't know if I read it somewhere or if it was someone maybe postulating this possibility, but I think that there is a possibility that Kojima is partnering with them when it comes to the technology that he's going to use, which he said he's going to use their technology, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it is going to be an Xbox exclusive. Yes, right. He's going to use their technology, maybe Azure, maybe something to do with another Microsoft service, but the game will still be multi-platform.
Okay, we'll see.
Yeah,
we shall see.
We'll see. But still, huge to see Kojima here in the Xbox presentation.
Keighley couldn't even get him on his show.
Keighley couldn't even get him. And also, Kojima, you coward. You coward, you're a traitor. Sorry, wrong wording there. You traitor. You're Sony's friend. You're not Xbox's friend.
I don't know, man. The man has many friends.
Yeah, it does.
So I'm going to move ahead to the PC gaming showcase. 3 quick things that I wanted to shout out. First, we got a cinematic trailer for a game called The Altars, which looked neat. But again, it's a cinematic trailer, so I don't really know what the game is exactly. But it was this kind of sci-fi game where you work with a bunch of your clones. I think maybe like solving a mystery or something like that. It looked neat. So that one is on my radar. Another one that was in a few of the different showcases is this game called Immortality. And this is the new game from what's his name? Is it Sam Barlow? Is that the guy's name? I'm blanking on it. But he does a lot of these like live action games that you can like pause it and look at the clip and click on the thing. It'll take you to a new thing. Like a new. It's so hard to explain. I don't really understand it exactly. But the game looks really neat. Looks fascinating. I think I might jump in with this one. Yeah, this is Sam Barlow's next game. all about an upcoming actress who mysteriously disappeared, with her last moments and life existing only on tape. As an investigator, it's your job to discover exactly what happened to her and why her disappearance is so intriguing. That one will be out for PC and consoles on July 26th, 2022. And I believe that one will also be out on Game Pass, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, so don't quote me on that. But that one looked neat. And then last but not least, we got a trailer for System Shock. We got a brand new trailer for System Shock. Now, Ignacio, you might have to help me here. Is this the System Shock remake, or is this because aren't they working on both a remake and like a new one?
I thought that it was only the remake, but I'm pretty sure this one is a remake, I think.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go with remake. That's what I thought it was. But yeah, we got a new trailer for System Shock.
Yeah.
And that
I'm guessing if it's called
fantastic.
System Shock, then it should be a remake.
Yeah. And that one looked real good to me. So I'm excited. All that stuff. Was there some stuff from the PC gaming showcase that you liked?
Yeah, there were a couple of things. Again, I couldn't watch it all. There are a couple of things. Unfortunately, the article that you pulled up doesn't have every game. And I'm missing one game that I wanted to talk about. But going into the games that I do have here, the Sieve Inc. So the Sieve Inc. is kind of like this competitive multiplayer game where everyone is working for this spy agency, and you are tasked to retrieve kind of like this information, infiltrate this one place and retrieve a piece of information and then get out of there.
Yeah.
But the thing is that you are competing against each other. So the whole idea of the game is that you are going to be undercover. Everyone is undercover and everyone has the objective to find the thing that you're looking for and get out. So it is like kind of like this spy competition where you have to be blending with the NPCs and be very careful what you do, and then you have the other people kind of like coming after you because they're also competing. And they showed how I'm getting to the objective. Oh wait, they are already there. The objective is already gone. And they showed how you have different gadgets, different weapons and stuff like that. And
yeah,
I thought that it was a very fun concept, a very innovative concept. This kind of like spy versus spy game.
Oh yeah.
Solstice, just a quick shout out. It is an action game, your typical sword action game. But I thought that maybe there is enough there to be a very good game. Gameplay looked fun. I'm looking forward to see what else can there be. I registered to get notified for the demo, so I'll give my impressions later on site.
Oh yeah.
Nivalis. This is a game that once I saw it, I thought this is a Kyla's game. This is a very
Which one was this again?
The Cyberpunk game.
Let me see. Oh yeah. Let me see.
Welcome to
search.
It's either called Nivalis or Welcome to Nivalis.
Just Nivalis. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cyberpunk city simulator where players can seemingly explore a neon-drenched world, fish, and complete a number of other activities. You'll be restaurant managing, stuff like that.
Just to give you a quick idea, it is kind of like if you took Cyberpunk, the world of Cyberpunk, passed it through a pixel art filter, and then you are just someone living in the city. So you have it showed there that you have like kind of like your restaurant or bar where it is up to you to set everything up. You set up the tables, you kind of like tend to the people, and then they show you having your own garden where you have your own crops that you're growing and you have to sell them. And you go through the city. At one point they showed you fishing, and it is very much
apartments. You can go
clubbing. You earn money to buy your apartment. To buy things for your apartment, a sofa, a computer, whatever. And it is very much a game about you living in this cyberpunk city and try to make a living out there.
To be honest, when that one first came on in the showcase, I was like, "Oh, this is cyberpunk," and then I was like, "Oh, wait, no, it's pixelated." But I meant like this one is Cyberpunk 2077.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, "Oh, wait, no, it's not."
Yeah, I immediately thought of you being such a big fan of the cyberpunk genre and the cyberpunk game.
Mm-hmm.
I think the last game that I wanted to shout out, I can't find. Wait, here it is.
You remember?
Okay,
what
Agent
it was called?
64.
Okay.
Agent 64 is by Silver Die. So this game stood out to me just because it looked like if the game was made back in the N64, PS1 era, PC era, kind of like a PC first-person shooter from that era, but if they were remastering it for now.
Yeah.
And it is very much that style, very much that gameplay, visual aspect. Even the faces of the characters looked like they did back then, and I thought that was such a cool concept. Kind of just making a game as if it had been done back then.
That one has a demo out right now.
I hadn't
go play
that one. Yeah, I'll download it right now.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, that is it. Those are the showcases that were over the weekend on Saturday and Sunday. I know there's a few more things kind of happening this next week. I know there's a Capcom showcase. There's some Final Fantasy VII 25th anniversary event on June 16th.
Yep. There is Gorilla is having another showcase apparently. 3.5 they called it.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it's gonna also be like this second Xbox stream where they like do more deep dives into things.
There's also a second showcase for Xbox.
We also don't know what the hell is up with Nintendo. They've been silent so far, but I can see them, like announcing something Monday morning or Tuesday morning. Or like super late at night, and they'll be like, on Thursday, it's gonna be a new Nintendo Direct.
So Nintendo's got a Nintendo. They march at the beat of their own drum. So I wouldn't be surprised if they just didn't care that there was this week of showcases going on, and they wanted to do their own thing. So I wouldn't be surprised at any point this month, or even maybe into the next month, Nintendo just shows up with a Nintendo Direct. And also Sony. I think Sony could still do a proper presentation at some point.
Okay, that's fair. There you go. That's all we got for you right now. We will be back soon. I think we're going to try and record again on Tuesday, but we shall see. No promises on that. If not, we will be back, I guess, that following Tuesday after that. But this is it so far. This is part 2 of our roundup for Summer Game Fest. Ignacio, where can the people find you on the internet?
People can find me on Twitter at IgnaciorojasB. That's IGNACIOROJASB.
There you go. And you guys can find me at Yo Kyle Springer on Twitter. And if you guys want to stay up to date with all of the stuff that we do here at The Whatnots, we are at The Whatnots on Twitter. So please go like, share, and subscribe. This has been Crossplay number 122, I think. This has been Crossplay, and you have been played.
Bye.
Bye.